Yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. It's your boy Kenny, the producer slash engineer here at Fandom Frequency. Before we move any further, make sure you follow us on the social medias, man. We're trying to grow our following over there. Instagram at fandom underscore frequency. And then Twitter is at fan underscore frequency because somebody already took the name. Follow us over there, man, and stay up to date with all the different pop culture topics that we're interested in posting about or talking about, man. We want to make sure that we stay connected with all of you fellow Fandom Frequency members out there, man. Welcome to the multiverse of fandom where we talk about everything. But today's main topic is, of course, the Scream opening scenes. All 5 Scream opening scenes, kills, whatever you want to say, but you can't technically say that anymore. Big warning, spoiler warning right now, guys. Big fat spoiler warning for Scream 2022, Scream 5, as us Scream fanatics like to say. Make sure you dip on out if you haven't seen that yet, and then come on back and check out this latest 5 on it installment, where we do a top 5 ranking. Today is the Scream opening scenes. Full spoilers on ahead. Beam me up, Scotty. Let's get it. It's a Scream, baby. Starting off with number 5 is going to be the Scream 4 opening scene. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't a whack-ass scene or even a bad scene to me. I just think the meta, witty nature that they're going for, you went a step too far. You know what I'm saying? Now, the way that they did it, where it was like an opening within the actual opening of characters watching the the stab openings of that fictional franchise based off of the Woodsboro murders. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Gail right there. The original Woodsboro murders, how they spawned their own franchise within the universe off of that. The problem is, I just wish we got the Kristen Bell and I'm forgetting her name. Oh no. Rogue, man. Rogue from the OG X-Men. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to throw her up right here, man. I'm having a total brain fart. But her and Kristen Bell, man, together in that opening scene where she's like, oh my gosh, dude, enough of that post-meta shit, man. It's all been done to death. There's nothing original in horror anymore. And then she just gets stabbed in the stomach, and she's like, bitch, shut up and watch the movie. I like that part of it, and then it going into the actual 2 main real-life people in the movie that are watching the stab opening in Woodsboro at the time in 2011. I just wish that was the opening scene right there, and they maybe changed up a few elements of the real life part of the scene and to just make it something a little more different, because we had the first 3 Scream openings, and it's always like it starts with a call, and then they sneak around somewhere, get into the house, kill whoever's in there, yada, yada, yada. We get the opening of Scream. And not saying that the latest installment didn't do that, but there is one big factor or a couple big factors that completely subvert the traditional Scream opening. Scream 4, while it was going for that, while doing the opening within an opening, meta shit, we got 16 walls up in here because we're breaking the 4th wall and all this shit, didn't quite land all the way, but it's still a solid opening scene of a Scream film, and I still have fun with it, man. Like I said, especially that section with Kristen Bell and what's-her-face. I always love that part of it, you know what I'm saying? So it's got to come in at the bottom of the list at number 5. Let's get right into number 4, man, and that's going to be the opening to Scream 3. Now, I got a lot of love for my boy Cotton Weary, and for those of you out there that have checked out my 5 on it installment of my 5 underrated Scream characters, make sure you check that out, man. We got the card right up there. Make sure you check that out after this. But I got a lot of love for Cotton Weary. He's one of my fave side characters in the franchise, and I think the Scream 3 opening's pretty solid, man. And while we had the first 2 installments, obviously at that point, it's 2000. We got to do something new. I kind of like how he's calling Cotton while he's at a remote location to draw him in somewhere. That is the one element that I do enjoy and has played a part within the Scream franchise overall, with there being more than one killer. And this kind of makes you think in that light, where in that one there wasn't, there was only one killer, Roman, So the whole way that that goes down, and then the whole thing with Cotton's girlfriend being there and getting killed alongside him is a complete kind of surprise, because you're not used to characters having to get drawn in somewhere. And the whole voice modulator and the way that it changes voices and stuff like that, I don't think necessarily ages well for the year and the time they were creating that film. Today, in the modern times, that fits perfectly. Someone could have that app or something like that on their phone. That technology is very much out there for people to use. So it makes more sense in 2022 than it did in 2000 or 1999 whenever they were filming it, and then 2000 when it released. But overall, it's a very solid opening scene, and I like some of the brutality with the fighting and just the overall struggle with Ghostface and Cotton and his girlfriend. And I love the whole title with 100% Cotton. That's pretty brilliant stuff right there. Kevin Williamson didn't write the script, but good stuff right there. So yeah, so Scream 3's opening's got to come in at number 4, no doubt. Number 3, we're getting to that top 3, baby. Number 3 is actually going to be, maybe even controversially so, Scream 2 is going to be at number 3. The Scream 2 opening with two of my favorite actors, Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett Smith, you know what I'm saying? Getting some representation up in here. But yeah, man, I always love this scene for the most part. I love how this kill scene or opening scene, whatever you want to say, takes place at a movie theater right when you're starting to watch this movie at the movie theater. That was the intended effect of it when it dropped in 97. And I actually think that's pretty brilliant, man. It's pretty cool to see a movie premiere at a movie premiere. You know what I'm saying? Like, that meta nature to it and the whole, like, almost fourth wall break we're going through right there is actually brilliant, well done, and still ages well. Because there's not like a ton of movies that take place in a theater. Final Destination has a sequel that does that. There's other stuff in the genre and outside of it a little bit, but there's not a ton of stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I really love how that really does age well. 25 years on now, we're on the 25th anniversary of Scream 2, which is crazy to believe, right? And I love the whole dialogue and acting back and forth with Omar Epps and Jada Pinkett Smith's character. They really seem like a true couple. You know what I'm saying? The whole back and forth and the way that they're, arguing about the representation in horror films, which that rings true today too, with black people in horror films getting killed first, and the whole African American element not being presented necessarily as much over time in the horror genre as a whole. But I think in the last 30 years is definitely starting to balance out when you got Jordan Peele out there, Wes Craven doing some stuff like People Under the Stairs and Candyman, other things like that. I think horror has, in an organic way, become a little more open-minded and accepting of different cultures in a sense, and where it was never closed off to it, but it was Hollywood that was. You know what I'm saying? People in the horror community, the filmmakers and actors involved in the minds behind the great stories that scare us all, were never like that. But that's just the way the genre kind of was and how it has been, and especially was up until that point in 97 when this dropped. So it definitely rings true today and worked just as well for then. And they even address it in the film, like I said. But the one clunky element of this opening scene is the way that Omar Epps gets killed in the bathroom. How did Ghostface, whether it was Debbie Salt or Mickey at the time, how did they know to stab it exactly right there, and he was going to put his ear up against the thing? It just seems a little too planned out in a way where you couldn't plan those actions out that way. You know what I'm saying? Why are you going to put your head up next to a dirty-ass stall in a movie theater anyway? You know Hector ain't cleaned that shit recently. Just using that name out of nowhere. But, they didn't clean that shit since, like, the 2 p.m. showing, bro. What are you doing? It's just like, it doesn't really make sense, you know what I'm saying? And I still want to know what the hell they were saying behind there on the other side. I can never make out what they're saying. But that whole element does not work at all. I like how they put on his clothes, went back to the theater with the mask on, which plays into the fact of everyone got free mask in the premiere at the theater from the studio that created Stab 1, the original Stab in the Scream franchise, or in the universe right there. And Omar Epps' character was goofing around and trying to scare her earlier and scared her in the hallway. So I thought that actually made some logical sense right there and plays into the fun meta vibe of us knowing what's going on as the audience and her not knowing, you know? So I thought that all played out pretty well. And I like the way that she just stabs her right there. People think it's all a part of like some publicity stunt or all a part of the act or just some crazed horror fan pulling a prank. That rings true for 90s kids or 80s kids being teens in the 90s into millennials. That plays true too. And I like the whole thing with her dying in the theater in front of everybody and everyone's like, oh shit, yo, what's going on? So I think Scream 2's opening, while a few elements are a little clunky, for the most part, it's still a really kick-ass opening and was always my second favorite until the number 2 spot came out, Scream 5's opening scene, which is not a kill, man. Huge spoiler right there off the top, dude. But that's the number one thing I love about this opening scene. It subverts your expectations while hearkening back and mirroring the original opening scene with Casey Becker, which you know where that is on the list. And I love the way that this plays out in a similar fashion. But Ghostface's dialogue and the way that he's presenting what he's saying and the way that he's saying it is completely different, man. Like, he's talking like a normal dude that's claiming to know her mom from group because her mom's an alcoholic. That would totally drop your guard down. You wouldn't be like, who the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? And he sounds like a real normal dude. Like, Roger Jackson, I think, is the name of the actor that does Ghostface's voice. He was doing so great right there. And the way that he just flipped it on the dime and just went back to that true blue, you know, sinister Ghostface voice was just awesome, man. And Jenna Ortega, this woman needs a Saturn Award or something. She was acting her ass off, and it was definitely at its strongest pretty much right here at the opening of the film. She was knocking it out of the park, man. I loved it. Tara wasn't being too stupid either. And she's texting Amber back and forth and whatever the fuck. And the way that they had the video of Amber live at the time, which does raise a question or two, but it's still interesting to kind of throw you off of her scent for a while. You know what I'm saying? So I love that whole thing. And just the way that Ghostface is playing with technology and using modern tech and apps to fuck with her security system, where it's like lock armed, doors unlocked, doors locked. I just love that whole back and forth and the way that Radio Silence, I can't remember their names right now, my bad, but the way that those guys were just ratcheting up the tension was so well done and definitely reminded me of Wes Craven's full-on energy and what he was bringing to the original film's opening scene, man. You gotta love it, dude. And the way that Jenna Ortega's really fighting back, too. Like, she's not being stupid like half the people in Halloween Kills. She's putting up a fight. She's kicking. She's pushing. She's punching. She's trying to get the hell out of there. After she's been stabbed already, she's still fighting for her life. You know what I mean? So I love that. And the brutality of Ghostface right here, just bam, smashing her leg like it's made out of nothing. I was like, ooh, you ain't gonna be walking for a while. And then he stabbed her like fucking 5-6 times, dude. Like, I thought Tara was done for, bro. But apparently she's not, of course, as we've seen in Scream 5. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. But man, just crazy stuff, man. And I just absolutely love the way that they play with us fanatic and us big true blue Scream fans, horror fans, film fans, the way that they're playing with our expectations and being like, okay, but how's she gonna get away? How's she gonna get away? Nope, she dies. Same thing with Scream 4, you know? So I love that the way they subvert these expectations while making it similar to something you've seen before, but still changing it up, man. So you gotta give it some love. Scream 5, Scream 2022, whatever you want to call it. The opening scene's at number 2. And now it's time to bring it on home with the original itself, Casey Becker's death scene. What else can I say about this fucking scene that hasn't been said enough? The one few things that I will say before we leave off this episode there. Number 1, this is the best opening scene to any horror film all time. I'll say it. Drop a line in the comment section if you disagree, but I know for a fact it is. Number 2, it is Wes Craven's best opening scene to any film, including Nightmare. This is some of his best work, man, and just one of his best scenes he's ever shot. This is just spectacular. And the way that Drew Barrymore is just the way her performance is going throughout this whole thing with Roger Jackson on the phone. They had never met him, never seen him back in those days, back in 95, 96. So that's just mind-blowing right there, how the acting in the reactions are just kind of genuine. You know what I mean? How it's real reactions to what he's saying and being like, oh shit, that's in the script. But it's like, whoa, shit. That's how he's saying it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could tell Drew Barrymore was really getting into it, and it really enhances the scene with the very well-written dialogue from Kevin Williamson, Roger Jackson just killing it, and then the great direction from Wes Craven mixed with Drew Barrymore's acting just created a trifecta of marijuana. No, I was playing fucking Pineapple Express, but it just created a trifecta of fantastic horror filmmaking, man. And like I said, dude, and this is one of the best opening scenes to any film all time. Get at me if you don't think so, man. Give me a better example down below in the comments. This is amazing. You gotta love it. I love it, man. There's not much else to say that hasn't already been said, but this is the best opening scene in the entire Scream franchise. I think it's always gonna be, because we didn't know what to expect. Holy shit, Drew Barrymore's dead. Her guts are hanging out with entrails, hanging from a tree like it's goddamn hangman in fucking elementary school all over again. Woo, man. I just love that scene. What else can you say about it? But I want to know what you got to say about it. Drop your list down below and why of your ranking of all 5 Scream opening scenes. I want to hear from you guys down below. And make sure you're checking us out on that audio format, man. Podcast feed. Spotify's really been blowing up. And we're trying to get this thing heard all around the world. It's available wherever you find podcasts. So download us over there, man. We're almost at 500 downloads on the network. We're growing every single day. And it's all thanks to you guys, man. But we got quite a bit more Scream content coming. The Scream spoiler review / discussion, after so many scheduling conflicts, is finally going to be coming. I got some guests coming on the show for the long form podcast we recently launched last year. The Fandom Frequency Show, episode 5, Scream 5 is going to be a big focus right there. Spoilers ahead. We got Ghostface rankings. We got all 5 films in the franchise ranking coming. We got a lot of good stuff coming for the Scream franchise. And it's the 25th anniversary of Scream 2, so we got something special. I'm planning for that coming up later this year, 3rd, 4th quarter. We'll see what's up. I got something really special planned there. We're going to be getting Scream content all throughout the year, and you guys have supported that so much, so we just want to let you know we love you guys out there as well. Make sure you stay safe, and until next time, guys, stay tuned, don't sleep. One love.